Hello, it's me again. So today I'm gonna try to teach how to use Azure Emulator with your C# code or MVC or whatever platform that you're using to design your code. So first thing first, I need to explain Azure Emulator. It's a storage, it's a database, right? It helps to store your information, your data. So if you're familiar with C#, that you might probably know if you ever design with MVC, you know the term where they said code first or database first. So you have to have a storage unit before you run your application. If you got no way to put information, it's gonna be difficult for you to run your application. So some people use Azure Emulator. It's an offline application, but you can easily deploy with Azure using it. Very easy to deploy with it. So today I'm gonna explain how to use it, how to go about combining your emulator to your C# code. So the first thing I want you guys to do is to see this code, which is here. This on open Microsoft Word so that you guys can see whatever I'm typing. I'm gonna put it here and then copy it and put it there so that you guys understand and see how to get there. So there's this website where it's a Microsoft page where they explain the emulator in details. All right, so let's go online and you just copy that and then you just paste it here on your any browser that you're using. It's gonna open this page. For me, I already opened the page already, so I don't need to type it. Some of these things I'll do it like this because of for the sake of time, if I want to do it from scratch, it might be very hard. So this page is the official page of Microsoft where they explain the Azure emulator in detail, right? Even I learned few things from this page. It's very important to learn to read everything that is in here. That's why I open it for you guys to see, because some of the things we're gonna copy it from here and use it onto our C# code. So another thing I wanted to let you guys know is that it's gonna be very long for me to start creating a code from scratch, C# code from scratch, and then after that combine or use it onto Azure Emulator. So what I did is I created my code already. So ideally you need to have a small code that you create so that you can test this emulator theory if it's working or not. So that's what you're trying to do. I created a small code which we're going to use to try to test the emulator. All right, so I'm going to take you through step by step to learn how this thing works and how you can connect it to your C# code and how you can run it. Remember, an application without database cannot run unless it's a console, because a console is just a page, just showing a page. You don't add anything, you don't store anything. As soon as you start storing stuff, you need to have a database to save the information. So some people, if you ever deploy an application before, that means you store the information way onto the cloud. But then we're using a local database. That's why this Azure emulator, it helps us to save locally. All right. But if you deploy with Azure, it's also easy for you to take this local emulator to make it in the cloud. Okay. So that's what we're gonna do today. So I'm gonna explain this. All right. So now the first thing I want you guys to understand is if you open this website, what you first see is this where they said get a storage emulator. There's standalone emulator. All right. You need to click onto that button to download it, because I already download. I don't have to click again, but you can click and download again. You download it. After you finish the download, here on the download onto the browser that you are in, you can just go straight from there. Or what you can do, you can go to your file explorer and then go to download folder and open. You'll find it there. So let's go there. I'm just gonna click here. From here, show me the folder because I download it. So I'll click there where it says show me folder in. So it'll take me to the file explorer, which is here. There is it here. So what you need to do when you get here, you just double click on it. Double click on it, it's gonna tell you a window to say click next. Right. So it's very straightforward to install this. Just like this, you just click next, it's gonna install. I already got it, so I don't have to install it again. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just cancel it. But you just click next and it's installed. It's not gonna ask you for anything else. The next window you see to finish, then you're done. Right. So now we install it. So let's close this and let's go back here again. Now in this site, as I said to you guys, you need to read this to understand. There's a lot of explanation to the Azure emulator. Now, this is what I wanted you guys to understand is this part here. So ideally, the Azure emulator, before it works on your laptop or your desktop or your PCs, you need to be installed onto this folder in this part. All right, it's your disk C program file, and then Microsoft SDKs and Azure emulator. So you need to install there. But sometimes when you install it to your desktop or to your PC, it doesn't install in this part. It installs somewhere. It's installed in the program C drive, but not in Microsoft SDKs and then Azure Storage Emulator. So that's not gonna work. So what we need to do also, we need to change this part so that it can be on the same path as this one is. All right. So how you know that you know the same path? When you run the emulator for the first time, you're gonna see it's gonna show you the path where the emulator is stored. So then you see it's not the same as this one. All right, that means you need to change. But if it's the same as this one, that means you don't have a problem. Don't change anything, leave it like that. All right, that's what you need to understand. Another thing we need to understand here is very simple. They say for us to be able to use the Azure emulator, we need to have what? The connection string. All right, this is a connection string. So we're going to use this connection string and we're going to put it into our code, to our C# code, so that we can be able to link our C# code to the Azure emulator. That's what we need to do. All right, so let's start with Azure emulator. After you finish to install, you go, if you're using a Windows 10, you go to the search. Here in the search, we just put Azure emulator. Let me just put Azure, Azure, just put Azure, just Azure. Can you see? You open the one with the command prompt. All right. If you find something where you said Azure up like this, you can open. If you can't find that one there, the one say command prompt, you can also open it. Sometimes people, you can open this, no problem. You can open command prompt. All right, no problem. This is the other two, the only two that you can open. But ideally, you should choose what is said command prompt. Okay. So you double click on that one there. It's gonna open. It's gonna open like this. It's gonna open like this. All right. So when you open like this, what I want you guys to do is this. If it open like this, let me go down because I run some functions here. The first thing is for you to understand what is here. It's gonna open like this. This is gonna be your first line. Don't worry about the one on top. I was just typing some. It's gonna open like this with this line. Those lines, sometimes when you run for the first time, it's not going to be the same as the one in the website. But this one that I got, because I run this thing here, is the same as the one into the website. All right. So what we need to do is this. First thing first, you can type dir. Dir, it provides you information of your emulator. If you need to understand how this emulator works more, you can even type that function into your emulator directory. Then it's going to show you the different thing that you can read, about your emulator. So what I did, I opened Microsoft Word because all the function that we use, so then I can put it there so you guys can see what I'm doing. So first thing, we started with this link, and then we click DR, remember, onto the emulator to view information. Now the next thing is to change our path. If, for instance, your path is not the same as the one online, you need to change it. So how do we change that? Very simple. So what you need to do is to go to your File Explorer, open File Explorer. Then you click onto, let me go back, back. So you go to File Explorer, and you click on Local Disk C. Double click on that, and then you select Program File Time 86. Double click on that one there, and then you look for Microsoft SDKS. There's it here. Double click on that one too. Then the first one, which said Azure, double click on that one there, and then you see the storage emulator. Double click on that one, right? And then after you double click on the storage emulator, don't click anymore. What you need to do is just here, click on this button where it say preview, copy this line, copy it. You can copy that line, and then let's go back to first to our Microsoft Word so that I show you. So I'm gonna try to minimize this page, and then I go back to Microsoft Word. I'm gonna paste that line here. Can you see? This is the line that we copy from there, right? But it's still safe. So it's Microsoft file, Microsoft SDK, Azure storage. So if you compare this one and this one, which is here, it's the same thing. Let me go to it. Can you see with this one that is here? This one is the same thing. Can you see? It's the same thing that what the Microsoft emulator use. So we need to change the path to be the same as this one. So let's go back to Microsoft Word. It's the same thing that we copy here. So the next thing we need to do, you need to type this command first, cd, right? So let's go back to our emulator. So you type cd space, right? then you put this, and you paste everything that we copy there, and you put this thing again, and you click enter. Right? Automatically, when you do that, it's gonna show you the next line. It's gonna add the new part, so it's gonna direct this emulator to that new part, which is the same as the one into the website. Right? So now the next thing after you direct the emulator, we go back to the website. We're gonna copy this line here, so we can start our emulator. So we're gonna just copy this one. You can even type it yourself. We copy it from here. I'm gonna copy it, and I'm gonna go to my emulator. I will just paste it there, space, and say start, and click enter. So this will help your emulator to what to start, right? But like for my instance, can you see saying the emulator is already started? So it doesn't, it's already started, that will give me error. So if you give an error message, you must read it. Sometimes he said your emulator is already running, because mine I cannot run it anymore, it's already running. But for those of you that run it for the first time, it's gonna tell you your emulator is running, all right? And then it's gonna go to the next line. So let's minimize this. Now the next thing is to go open our Visual Studio Code, the one that we designed. And I'm gonna copy this line, because I don't need to copy everything upsetting, because why? In Visual Studio, by default, when the application open, there's already upsetting there, so you don't have to add another upsetting. All right. The only thing I need to add is what is the database part. I'll copy this, and then I open my Visual Studio, the one, the code that I'm using. So there is my Visual Studio. Let me close this. So what I need to do now, in my Visual Studio, you see where it said connection string. All right, double click on web config. You click on web config. There's connection and there's app setting. Can you see app setting is here by default? So then inside the app setting, I paste this code. Let me just remove it. So let's say inside the app setting, I'll just paste it. There are. It pastes inside the app setting. Can you see? And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just save this, right? And then after you do that, now let's run this code and see if it's gonna run. Right? So let's run it. For those of you that are running the code for the first time, this is what you might experience. It might run, but it give an error still. So if you give an error, that means you must stop the code and then close the application and open the application again, build it and run it again. All right? If you got an error, that's what you need to do. So that you might find something like that, but for most of the time, that's what happens. After you start your emulator, you run the application by still giving an error. So what you need to do is to close the application and rerun it again, and then it's going to run properly. You won't have any problem. Sometimes to run the application, it does really take a long time to run, so you just need to be patient. Right? You just need to be patient. So yeah, so that's what we need to know. You must remember this. But for more information, while this thing is still running, for more information, you just have to read here. You can read here. There's how to run the table and every other stuff. A lot of things that is here, which you can do. The emulator, it's very nice. It works. It's a offline emulator. It just works as your SQL, so similar to your SQL or your SQL or your MySQL. It's similar, right? So yeah, you can try this and see what happens. Right, you can try it and see what happens. Run the code and see what's gonna happen. Remember, guys, if you run the code and then the code did what? It didn't show anything, or you got an error message, just close the application and reopen the application again and run it again. Then it's gonna run properly. For those of you that will find the problems, right? Ideally, all of you, if you run it for the first time, you might experience that, right? So yeah, that's the one thing that you need to remember. So you can try to work around with it. You just create a small code and run it as many times as possible, and then yeah, then you can learn more about how the emulator works. All right. So yeah, but it's sometimes for the first time really it does take long, because now remember we put a new connection string, so he's trying to connect to the database, and then after he connect, they take the database and he connect the database, then after he runs, right? So it does take a little bit longer. Yeah. So finally, we almost here. It's still loading, still loading. Okay, I don't know why it's saying cannot reach, but it's still loading. Okay, let's see. Okay, so ideally, because of time, what you need to do is close this um, application, open it again, then you run it again. All right. So we'll see it the next time when we meet again. I'll show you the full running of it. But if you can use this Just use the step that I showed you, you won't have a problem. And remember, if it doesn't run, go close it and